What is up, and welcome to Into the Smoke, North America's premier talk show for Counter-Strike. Today, I've got the lovely Patrick Hollywood and Davis on the block. We're going to talk about a lot of cool things in the Counter-Strike grand sphere. Got a big event going on right now. What are we enjoying so far?
You forgot our chickens. They're also joining us.
They are? No CJ, though.
Yeah, no CJ.
Missing CJ.
RIP the GOAT.
Event's been really good so far, though. I think it's been a good group stage. Still have one more round of matches, but it's been really good.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been enjoying the matches as well. I like, we won't talk about it later on, but I like how they're doing the best of threes for everything. And there's a lot of matches, and they've been doing really well getting through all of them. It's been very exciting. Starts a little early here for us at the East Coast, which is unfortunate, but we still catch some of the
It's
matches.
surprising. They do best of threes, and all of a sudden the big teams win. It's crazy. It's like no upsets.
I think that's one of the best things about it. I think the major could learn something from this, too, because I think that's one thing that, like, I mean, if you can play it at this event and you can have best of threes, why would you not be able to do it at the major? Like, what is the reasoning to have best of ones all the way until an elimination or promotion, whatever match? So I think it needs to be like this all the time.
No, I mean, I think PGL's put on a great event. I mean, I really like Richard Lewis on the desk. I think breakdowns have been great. I like the more mentalized UI. I know that you said you didn't like it as much, but I think visuals, all of it, every part about it, from commercials, all of it. I've really enjoyed this event so far.
I agree.
Speaking of things we really enjoy, first thing we want to hop into is the great Le Boss, as they call him. ZywOo is on the cover of a really big athlete magazine in France. Pretty sick little deal. It's cool to see kind of the esports and real sports kind of collab here. You can see up here, Le Boss. This is from Croissant Strike, which is the best name in pretty much all of X. But it's super cool to see on there. What do you think this kind of, is this bringing in more of the esports culture into the real sports world, or do you think this is just kind of fan service?
I think it definitely is, especially for France, because this is a really, really big sports magazine. They also are heavily involved within soccer, and they do like the Ballon d'Or ceremony. They're the group that kind of puts that on. So I think it's really cool to see someone like ZywOo being recognized by a magazine like this with a lot of like just representative for esports in general. I think it needs to happen more. Obviously, he's like the figure in Counter-Strike. Like, he's kind of the best player in the scene right now, so it's not surprising to have him featured. But I think the more we see this, the better it becomes to incorporate them into like athletic society.
No, yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously, you know, gamers sometimes get frowned upon, but I think it's great to give them the representation. Like, obviously, people are going to come out of the woodworks and be like, they're not real athletes, and, you know, they're nothing compared to the people like LeBron or anything like that. But I think having, you know, as woke as it may sound, like the representation, I think is pretty cool because, you know, esports has continued to grow throughout the years, and it's had its ups and downs, but there's a big part of society and a lot of money that can be made from this. So it's like to recognize these players, to have younger people look up to these players, and it's nice to have a country recognize that. It'd be cool if we could do the same for here in America, if we actually cared.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think the biggest thing is, like, when you look at it, like, me and Davis are really big in European soccer, and the biggest, like, cool fun fact that kids and everybody else wants to talk about is what are weekly wages, right? It's like, how much does this player make? How much does this player make? And, like, when you talk about ZywOo, like, he makes a lot of money, and it's like, you know, not like in a braggadocious way, but like, that's a good career. Like, he is obviously one of the best players in the world, but he gets paid like one of the best players in the world. And then now he's getting success like one of the best players in the world. And they obviously are coming off back-to-back majors. So, you know, this is a big deal, and he is a big deal, especially for France. You know, their president previously campaigned on the notion of bringing a major back to Paris, which is cool. Obviously, you know, that country is a little bit, you know, more well-off for esports than we are. But I think it's a really impactful thing because, like you said, the kids today, as you grow up, like, this is a career that more and more parents and, you know, people in the kind of outside world are starting to see. It's like, oh, this is real. Like, this dude's on the cover of magazines. Like, you got Rops driving crazy cars. You got these dudes actually making like wild money. And it's like, oh, this is like an actual thing akin to a soccer, akin to, you know, other sports out there. And I think it's really good to, like, you know, bring the whole ecosystem together.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is, like you said, the recognition from like people that are outside of the sphere, being able to look at it and be like, dang, this guy's on this cover of the magazine. This is clearly something that has a lot of meaning to it now versus 20 years ago. It was something that, like Pat said, it was kind of frowned upon from a lot of people. But seeing him on covers of magazines, seeing the cars that they drive, the money that they make, it shows outsiders that this is a real career that people can have.
Yeah, I hope it also, like, one of the big things too is I hope it helps push parents more in the direction, because it's like, you know, we joke that we're from the generation where our parents told us to get off the video game and go outside and play a real sport. And it's like, this is a real sport. These guys are on the cover of magazines. Like, it is real now.
Yeah, 100%.
The next one we got coming at you is going to be a little bit different. We're going to have to talk about this for, I don't know, the 999th time. This specific tweet, though, it might be a little abrasive for you. So if you're sensitive to language, maybe look away at this point. But we're gonna bring it up. It's talking about FaZe. They got bounced again, to no surprise to anyone else. A little bit of blame being thrown at some of the players. Here, you got specifically a little bit of Broke-y hate on the inconsistencies there. It's a little bit hard to see in this tweet from Fjord. On the right side, you can see that he's talking about Broke-y's inconsistencies. You'll see it's nothing but red, white, green, alternating colors. Every other event, it's a good event, it's a bad event. Who knows what you're going to be getting out of him? But it's another sad exit for a sad FaZe Clan. Like, what do we think about this?
I mean, I don't know. We've talked about Broke-y a lot on the show, and obviously, yeah, I mean, he's very inconsistent. I don't believe that he is what he once used to be. It seems to me like the only tournaments where he can really actually like pop off and do good seems to either be some sort of miracle run in like the major, or it's a tournament where a lot of the big teams are not at, because it seems like any time that FaZe go up against anybody of somewhat relevant competition, and this one and the last one was specifically against Parivision, which had been like the new form of competition, they just can't get by it. Broke-y's just, his op skills have unfortunately fell behind, and I mean, I feel like there's plenty of oppers out there that could be given the chance that would probably fill this role better than Broke-y has. And I mean, they gave him that break before, they had those issues. He took a break and he came back looking pretty well, but then the honeymoon phase wore off. And here we are again, same old Broke-y, same old problems, same old FaZe.
It's crazy because you see like there's so many FaZe fans out there that want this roster to be good. But you literally see like Broke-y's performance by day of the week. As soon as they were playing on Monday, everybody's like, oh, it's cooked. We're getting Monday Broke-y. Like, there's no chance. And it's like, it's insane, one, that there's fans that are that serious. But then two, that it's like that much of a toss-up of what player you're going to get. And Jacob hasn't looked great at times. And now it feels like we're starting to question Kerrigan's calls as well. And it's just, the whole thing just feels like a sloppy project.
Yeah, I'm in a weird position with it because I'm actually the opposite of Pat. I don't think there's many oppers out there right now that could step in and play. I mean, obviously he hasn't been playing good, but there's a lot of inconsistent oppers out there. Pretty much every good team that's competing right now has a good opper. And then outside of that, like top 5, every opper is inconsistent. You look at Ultimate, you look at Wonderful, and you look at Broke-y. Like, all these players are inconsistent, and that's the reason their team isn't able to perform. So I don't know who you slide in. You almost have to go for a youngster kid like a Maladoy who Furia picked up out of nowhere, and he ended up panning out to be one of the best oppers in the game right now. And so I think if they were to go with somebody, it's got to be like a hidden gem in the rough that you would just find. I don't think there's really many players that you could slide in this particular moment and replace him, and they would be better. Sure, they might give you a couple more maps that they're good, and then they're going to fall off just like him in a few maps.
Yeah, also, it feels like the timing is just bad because this team doesn't look good. The last 3 results have not been good.
Yeah.
We're going to be gearing up for a major soon, and it's the same old FaZe. Can we make another deep run to the major and, mend all of our wounds, or is this really the end? And to me, it's like, I just want to see the squad blown up, and I want to see a new kind of superstar roster kind of built from it. Because I don't even know that you got 2 good pieces on the team that work well together, because the whole team is insanely inconsistent. At times, Twist looks like a top 10 player. At times, he looks like he shouldn't be playing anymore. And then same thing, when you get with the exact same product out of Jacob, the exact same out of Broke-y. And then when you look at Kerrigan, it's like, we know that he's a career, one of the best IGLs of all time. But at some point, you got to start pointing the finger and saying, hey, you wanted these guys. You brought these people in. This is your team. You built around this. You strategized for this. You knew these guys have off days. Like, unless he comes out publicly and says, like, hey, I've been telling management to give me A, B, C, D, and they haven't, then, like, I'm starting to lose faith there, too.
Yeah, 100%. I think Frozen, you didn't mention him. I think Frozen's really the only one that, in my opinion, I would lean on as like 100%. A pillar of this team of like, you know what you're going to get from him. He does have his maps where he's a little bit inconsistent, but I think he's still the one that you can look at and be like, he's mechanically the best player on this roster right now.
And that's where it's like, what I would do is I'd blow it up. Frozen's the only one that's going to stay. We're going to get rid of the other 4. Then we're going to try to build some new, cool, exciting core. Because like FaZe is a name you want to see do good. FaZe is a name that you want to see deep into runs, but it's starting to feel like it's going in that VP direction, and that's a slippery slope you don't want to go down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not looking good for them. I don't know. I'm with you on the Kerrigan. I mean, I think at some point we gotta, like, besides all of his past accolades, we gotta like look at him and see, because like when watching FaZe, I'm not seeing anything like fancy. I'm not seeing any play calling that's special or unique or that like drives back to that old Kerrigan. I'm just seeing some very painful Counter-Strike, because a lot of the times it's like a lot of their wins and their rounds that FaZe will get just ends up coming off of miracle plays from somebody. It's not like an outplay or an over rotate or anything. It's just like hey, we got lucky and this guy popped off and got 2 on the entry and now we're securing the round. And that's why it's just not panning out the majority of the time. And that's why they're constantly losing or almost losing to these teams that are 25th ranked, 30th ranked, like the eyeballers and stuff like that, and now getting eliminated early here.
And I'm looking here. I got curious and looked this up. FaZe are actually 2-8 since the major. Their 2 wins have only came against Heroic and BC Game. Those are their only 2 wins. They've also lost to eyeballers during that 8. So
Totally. I think, well, they won their, the first one of this was they beat Heroic.
Yeah.
But then it's like, you look like you're losing to Astralis team, losing to a Parivision team. And these aren't like bad teams, but if you're FaZe, you're supposed to be in the top 5, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to be one of these elite squads. And it's not like, when you talk about the miracle plays, that's something that like, you could be critical on Vitality. You could be critical on Falcons for, but it's like, you could be critical on Vitality for needing Zywoo to come up with a crazy huge play versus Furia in a grand final. This isn't to make a bracket.
Yeah.
This isn't in early stage rounds, and this isn't versus a Furia, a Falcons, or a Vitality. This is versus an Astralis team, which is on the come up, but it's not the same caliber of team. They are asking players to perform miracles.
Yeah, and they just can't do it.
And they just can't do it. It seems sketchy. So speaking of people who cannot do something, though, unfortunately, it's MOUZ, and they cannot beat Vitality. They do have 2 wins on them in the past, I think, 14 months. So that is something worth noting. But this is looking like it's one of the most dominant streaks possibly ever. I mean, the Kai Cenat gif up here is just insane. I mean, the ISO speed gif up here is absolutely insane, but very, very fitting. That's a whole lot of Vitality wins. Out of the last 13 matches, 11 have went Vitality's favor. Utter domination, and it feels like really the last couple have been just blowouts. Like the last 2 weren't even enjoyable to watch. Just GG Go Next, 2-0s, like not even fun or entertaining. Like I would rather just skip Go Next.
Lower than 8 rounds, like not close at all. They also, the last 7 series, I was just counting there, the last 7 series have gone to Vitality. It's getting kind of old at this point. It's almost like, I was thinking about this last night, and you never see a series where Sphinx, Xertion, and Torzi play well together. And I think this matchup especially, Sphinx can never play good against Vitality. And we saw Apex talking a lot of crap this week and talking about how he likes getting in his head. I think that's a genuine like problem for the team right now. And I think we already know the stories about MOUZ not being able to have much confidence in like their big-time matchups and play to their best potential in those matchups. So I think it's just a big problem that comes up when you play against like a giant like Vitality right now.
For sure. I love the Apex Sphinx kind of bickering back and forth. He basically said that Sphinx wanted to leave this team and he got what he wanted, and here we are now. But then on the other side, too, it's like the concerning part to me on the MOUZ side is we've seen Aurora get hot, and when Aurora got hot in group stages, they look like, hey, they're a top 2 or 3 team in the world. Like, this team is rolling, and then they got cool, right? At least in my opinion, I've never seen this MOUZ team be so hot. I'm like, oh, they're scary. They're going to win. It's like, nope, they're probably going to get top 5. They'll probably make the bracket.
The closest thing I remember to it is like in last season, there was a point where I genuinely looked at the MOUZ team and was like, they're probably going to come in second. Like, they're hot enough to come in second, but they're going to lose to Vitality. And they've never just been able to get over that mountain of Vitality. They had the potential to get right there to them, but they just can never win.
Yeah, I mean, MOUZ look really good in their matchup against FUT here. I mean, they kind of popped off on that one, but I mean, it's not, FUT's been doing really well, but I mean, how much credence do we want to lend to that? But this matchup, particularly MOUZ and Vitality, I'm just tired of seeing it. Look, you know, I mean, I'm obviously the Vitality fan here, and like, sure, it's like a free win, lease in, you know, move on to the next, but it's just boring because the outcome, like, if we're betting people and we're using statistics, is Vitality is going to win, you know, like 9 times out of 10 here. It's just, it's not enjoyable, and it seems like any bracket, any time, any tournament, they always end up on the same side of the bracket, and they always had to end up facing each other. And I think that's the reason why MOUZ always gets 3rd, 4th right there, because they always run into Vitality in the brackets, knock down to there, play in their 3rd place decider, boom, that's it. I don't really, honestly, for MOUZ to overcome Vitality, yeah, I think it's a player problem. I think Torzi, Sphinx, Exertion, Gimpat, and Brolin, they all just kind of are very inconsistent when going against Vitality. Like, when you see them in the FUT game, it's like Gimpat's popping off, okay, going against Vitality, lucky to get like 12 kills. It's just insane, the caliber that goes in, and I don't know if it's nerves, it's just Apex getting in their head for like Sphinx or whatever, but they just can never seem to get over that hill except for every once in a blue moon.
It's also tough for me because it's like when I look at the way that MOUZ team is constructed, especially when you look at a player like Sphinx who went from Vitality over to the MOUZ side, it's like when you look at those two 1-for-1, they're basically the same built level of team. The problem is Vitality has the number 1 or 2 opper, and then MOUZ has the 6 or 7 opper. And then you have the probably best closer in the game versus the 5th or 6th best closer in the game. You have probably the current best IGL versus the 8th or 9th best IGL. And it's like the team is meant to be a sum of its average, kind of like Vitality, but the sum of Vitality's average is the 1.3 best player in the world.
Yeah.
Whereas the sum of the MOUZ roster is like, sure, they're all in the top 10 in their role. And that's better than other teams where you look at like, Falcons have some weak links. Spirit has some weak links. Even Furia has a weak link or two. But it's like this MOUZ roster doesn't really have any weak links, but they're just not as good as Vitality, which is unfortunate.
And you see that in their matchups. Like, they're pretty much able to beat everybody else except Vitality. So that's kind of crazy how that all works out.
It's also really unfortunate, too, because they play Vitality so much. So now Vitality is like, you've now seen what they've got. You know what they're going to do. And at some point, it's going to get in your head. Whereas you look at a team like Spirit that has only played Vitality 3 or 4 times in the past 15 months or so. Sure, Vitality might have a win record over them, but they've won 7 versus MOUZ probably since the last time that they've even played Spirit, which is crazy.
I also have the all-time record right here: 31 wins for Vitality, 14 for MOUZ all-time. So doubled them up. And
but given the current streak, the early days must have been
must have been decent, yeah.
Yeah, the early days must have been good. So the next one we got coming at you is going to be talking about Guardian. He is an old head. He is one of the greats of Counter-Strike. And this post here was actually saying, is Guardian the king of no majors, the GOAT without a crown, mostly comparing him to NiKo and Elige, as they're probably the next 2 best riflers to never get it done. I'm curious, what are y'all's thoughts? You got Guardian ahead of NiKo and Elige, or where does he slot for you guys?
He's not a rifler.
But just player all time.
Player all time.
I do not think he's above NiKo. Elige, you could probably make the argument for, but I don't think he's even really close to NiKo, to be honest.
I don't know. It's kind of a difficult one because, like, back in the day, it's like Guardian was like one of the oppers. Like before Simple started rising up and Device and all that, Guardian was always the name that you heard. Like he was the one to fear. And NiKo was coming along at this time too. And it's just, I think NiKo has withstanded longer and has continued to go on. Obviously, Guardian does not play anymore. So I would probably rank NiKo above Guardian because at least the man's still trying. Okay. Sure. Guardian unfortunately didn't get his, but Elige, I don't think Elige has quite come that close yet. I respect the man. Obviously, he's American. Like I want him to get up there, but I don't think he's quite in that conversation.
I really thought you were going to go with the Bald Alliance, not the American Alliance, but I respect that.
The way that I look at it too is like when you think about riflers of all time, NiKo's pretty much undisputed before Donk. I mean, Donk probably at the end I don't think he's passed him yet, but he definitely will pass him at the end of the day. So I think like NiKo is the best rifler of Counter-Strike history. There's really no contention to that. But when you look at Guardian, there's a lot of operas that definitely contest and are better than him. So that's where I kind of draw the line. I also have right here, NiKo has 51 EVPs all time. And I think, where did I see Guardian? He's somewhere down here on the list. He's got like in the teens somewhere around. So I mean, I just think that NiKo is just like levels above.
Yeah, I do think the time thing played pretty heavily into this as well, because obviously Guardian is not just an older human, but also played in an older time, played across some different games. I'm pretty sure he even started in Source and then made the ports over throughout, which impressive run nonetheless. But for me, it's funny, but it's also not funny. I think it's going to be impossible for anyone to take NiKo's GOAT without a crown mantle solely because of the memes. Like, it's NiKo no major. Like, it's him.
It sounds good rolling off the tongue.
It really does. And not only that, but it's like, he's had every opportunity to do it. And like, as brutal as it is, if he lands a few different shots, he has multiple majors. But he misses his shots, and he is now NiKo no major. So it's like, for me, you're never taking the crown from NiKo. I like the Elite shout out. Shout out to US. I think there's a lot of great players that have never gotten a major, but for Elite to even be in this is awesome.
Guardian and NiKo on FaZe back in the day, they played one together. Lost it. Lost it Cloud9.
The GOATs, some would say.
Maybe NiKo will get his major, so thus then Guardian will just
becomes the GOAT. That's exactly right.
Because NiKo's now out of the conversation.
I actually love that idea, Pat.
He's still playing. Falcons can still win a major.
What if Falcons were to bring in Elige for a Tessus and a Kixon? We could get rid of 2 of them.
Well, then it would just be Guardian. So yeah,
exactly. It's a one-horse race.
Guardian is only one.
Was it you that sent me that thing that was like add Frozen and Bit?
Yeah. Make NiKo the IGL.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a bad move. Yeah. So, let's shift over into the current status of the PGL event. So we want to start off with business as usual for the top dogs. We got best of 3s at this one, so we kind of got to see the top 4 teams roll into the first 2-0 matchups. And then we got to see Vitality versus MOUZ, and we know how that went. And then the Furia versus Falcons game was actually a good game.
Very good game. Back and forth. I think it really could have gone to either team. And I think the double op really scared me at the very end of the game. But I will say I was honestly surprised. I was happy that Falcons pulled this out, but I kind of was surprised, to be honest. I thought they might throw a little bit towards the end as the pressure built, as they normally do.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous for the Falcons. Me and you were watching in real time. I was talking about, I think that this is maybe worst case for the Falcons. Because now you're going to kind of sit on your hands for a couple of days, and then like you're probably going to cool off a little bit. I think that, kind of like FaZe at the major, where it's, you might have been 0.3 seconds away from losing to Red Canids, but then once you kept playing deep into the brackets, you made it to the bracket, you made a run, you stayed hot, you stayed fresh. I think sometimes we'll see teams kind of, if you go 3-0, you sit flat for a few days, and then you get smoked in the first round because you haven't played in 4 days, and the other teams have.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if the Falcons are going to be afflicted for that. I have Vitality are immune to this. There's a lot of things they're immune to, but I'm curious to see how the Falcons handle it.
100%. I think one thing to kind of bounce off that is Kioske has been playing like out of his mind, which is the first event, in my opinion, that he's like really, really popped off, especially against Furia. He was like their best player. And so that's one person that I worry about with that effect right there, taking a few days off, kind of getting cool, and then jumping back into it. Hopefully he can continue to play really well.
I actually honestly think the Falcons will do fine here. I'm really betting heavy on a Falcons Vitality finals here. I think that'd be exciting to see. But yeah, I think the days off is just kind of like, they just got to keep on the momentum of just playing and practicing. I feel like if a days off hurts you, I mean, that's just really unfortunate.
Sure.
Because like, that's like a curse to doing better. But yet teams like Vitality or somebody, they'll keep on going strong. But maybe the first couple rounds are a little rough, but I assume they're scrimming. They're doing other things, I'm sure they're not just sitting back, eating, watching the games and relaxing. Or maybe they are. And maybe that's the problem. But I'm excited for those two making it through. Furia made it through as per usual, but they're looking a little shaky. And these matchups coming up are going to be exciting too, to see who else is going to pull through.
One thing I do think, which we were talking about this during the matchup yesterday against Furia, is how Kixon, in my opinion, as an IGL, we've talked about his confidence as an IGL a lot on this show. I think he kind of overthinks things a lot of the times because he maybe doubts his call or thinks he's making the wrong call or whatever. He overthinks things. I think on these days off, the biggest thing that they're doing, not even scrimming, is studying their opponent, studying what the other people are doing. The more that you do that, the more you look into it, the more opportunity you're going to have to, make the wrong call or overthink certain things. So I think that could be one thing that leads to Falcons having a bad stint after having a few days off.
I forgot that the Mongols made it through. I forgot they won their match earlier. So that's going to be like a free win for somebody, like whoever gets to go up against them.
It's interesting because we were talking earlier about the top operas in the game right now. And it's like the first probably 4 slots are pretty cemented, right? Like you've got Zywoo, Shiro, Monesi, Maladoi, right? It's like I feel good about those. But then it's like that 5th slot. It's like there are times when like you could have argued a lot last year that it was 9-10. But he has been hot and cold. And when he is hot, he is hot. When he is not, he is not. Yeah. And today when they needed him, he ended up being there. But there were moments when he was not there. And it's like you're probably going to lose this because he's looking awful. That first game in Inferno, like the whole team looked bad.
Yeah.
And I agree, it's probably going to be a free win, but this team, it just, something feels off. I mean, obviously you're losing your superstar doesn't help, but the Mongols don't feel good.
Yeah. Their win over, I didn't think they would, which I thought it was a very close matchup then versus Na'Vi, but I really thought Na'Vi would end up besting them in the end, but they didn't. So I think that's another, I think Na'Vi will probably end up advancing. Actually, maybe not, because I just looked down, they played G2, so maybe not, but.
That sucks because both those teams are really good.
Yeah, 100%.
Then the Na'Vi one too is Na'Vi Mongols. Somebody went pretty popular on X today for a $70,000 bet on Polymarket, and I think that hit for 200. So it's a good day.
Nice bet. Yeah.
It's a good day. I wouldn't have taken that bet.
Good day at work.
I would not have taken that bet.
Yeah.
To me, it's exciting because the only fear I have though is that Mongols are going to be back on the Vitality side, and we're going to see MOUZ versus Vitality again, and it's like, dude, please.
It's
stop.
written in the stars. It has to happen.
People see if that happens, then Fury is going to play Falcons, and then somehow Fury is going to upset the Falcons, and then it's Vitality Fury again, and it's like, dude.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Give me a different
I hope we
outcome.
see a Falcons versus MOUZ rematch, because obviously we talked about them getting beat 2-0 in a crazy series at the last event, both games going into overtime, so I think that would be a really exciting match to see going forward.
I mean, there's a lot of exciting ones that come up. The other ones that some of the teams that we wanted to talk about are the teams that are trending in the right direction. And you'd mentioned FUT earlier. Also, Astralis looked really, really good at times. And those are 2 teams that I think are really trending in the right direction. And they might still be a puzzle piece or so away. But I also think if these rosters stay together, by the time the major rolls around, like these could be like top 8, top 6, like, sneaky good teams.
I also think Fizzy for Astralis, that could be one guy we were talking about earlier, possible ops that could jump into a team. He's kind of jumped onto the scene out of nowhere since he's joined Astralis. I think that kid is really, really good. He has potential to be a really good operator. I think he's a large reason for their success. But Astralis looked really good, much better than they looked last year, in my opinion. Obviously, getting away from both Magisk and Device, you thought might be a hiccup for this team. They might go back a little bit while they try to recoup and make an international roster. But I think they've hit the ground running. So it's exciting for them.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, I think FUT's been exciting, Astralis been exciting. I think it's cool to have them as kind of like the new teams to be in that like 10 to like 6 range, or maybe 12 to 6, however much range we want to give it. And so some of these other teams can fall back a little bit because it has that new flavor. Because I don't think right now at the caliber that these teams are playing, I don't think they're capable of necessarily beating the top teams in like a best of 5 or anything like that. We saw FUT be able to handle Fury in like the best of 3s and stuff like that, and they come close again here at this tournament, which came down to like just a couple decider rounds. But it's like, I don't know if that team's strong enough to take on somebody like Vitality, of course. But even if we take them out of the equation, the rest of the top teams, same for Astralis. That don't mean they can't get there. Maybe at the major there can be those upsets, but it seems very hard to me that like I would probably put more money on MOUZ finally getting the win before giving any of those a win.
For sure.
But I think they're good though. That doesn't mean they're bad by no means.
Yeah. It's weird to me because just the last 18 months of Counter-Strike, we just kind of went into an odd space. It really has felt like since Vitality took over, it's like there's just a weird funnel at the top. And it's like your top 4 is basically the only people that can win now, which we got to see Parivision win at the last event, which is good. But up until that moment, when you look pre-Shanghai Major, it's like, Spirit would win intermittently, Na'Vi would win intermittently, FaZe were still contenders, Vitality at that point in time were still contenders. And then even when you go back to the end of the Go era, it's like you had teams like Game Release that would go and run. That Vitality squad went on a run. You had a bunch of teams that would be winning events from outside the top 8 at a pretty frequent manner. And you would see teams in the top 4 just dropping games early in brackets, missing brackets and stuff like that. All jokes aside to the Falcons, it really feels like Falcons are the only ones of that top 4 or 5 that are known to miss a bracket. The other 4 are basically guaranteed semifinalists.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like they're falling off a whole lot, which doesn't give a lot of space for a FUT or an Astralis to make runs. Because it felt like 2 years ago, those teams would be winning events throughout the year.
Yeah.
Whereas like now, dude, you're going to have like 4 or 5 teams win an event a year at this pace.
And at that point, too, it's like whenever these teams do pop off, someone always gets plucked from their team. Like we're talking about Fizzy, for example. Like Fizzy, if he pops off, someone like FaZe or somebody big is going to buy him out from Astralis before they win an event. And so then you have Astralis falling back down to like the 10, 12 sphere and trying to work their way back up. So I think that's one thing that if you don't win events, that's one thing that can easily happen to your team. If you're playing really well, but you can't get it over the hump, somebody big is going to take this guy that's carrying you to these finishes.
And it's also tough, too, because saying that like Astralis is an org that's going to get poached by a bigger org just feels almost wrong to say, but it feels like that's going to happen to them. It'll probably happen to Na'Vi. VP is literally nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
G2 has lost a bunch of superstars and they're still competitive, but like we're talking about their opera, it's like I think Simple Pies is good, but at times he's not good.
Yeah.
And it's tough to know what you're going to get. They've won with him, which is great, but then like would G2 get Fizzy, or is that like too lateral of a move, or like what do we like? I don't know. The mid is so weird in terms of outside of the top 5. What are you getting?
Yeah, 100%.
Where's Dexter at?
He's still at home, I guess, hanging out.
Everybody just forget about him.
I'm pretty sure he got released from Falcons too, like officially. So he's like not on a team right now.
I think a lot of people should call him.
Yeah, 100%. Give him a chance at least.
Give him a chance, because at least the last time we saw him.
MVP.
Tournament MVP.
Won the tournament.
And I assure you, there are not that many rosters right now that have a tournament MVP winning opera.
Yeah.
And it's not
1,000%.
And now he's just sat on the sidelines for pretty much a whole year.
Yeah.
You get an MVP
I will say,
win
before that event, he was abysmal. But then that event, he turned up.
That's also why, and this is going to sound like I'm on my hater arc here, that is why I know that 100 Thieves is a content org and they care about making YouTube videos about carrying players in Counter-Strike and Call of Duty. Because I'm taking Dexter over current Device. 5 years ago, no money in the world would ever take that deal. But today, like, no contest. Dexter looks significantly better. It's tough.
It's just a name. Yeah, it's content.
Hey,
content king.
Content sells. Speaking of content that's selling, we're going to have the bracket stage coming up. So I'm curious, what are your predictions? You think we're going to get business as usual, which I guess at this point is a Fury Vitality final? They were going to finally see a Falcons Vitality matchup in the grand final. Falcons finally get it done, slay the dragon.
Like I said, I wanted to see the Falcons Vitality matchup. So that's why I was happy for them to get the win for the 3-0. So that way they would be on different sides of the bracket. So that way we can have that opportunity. Obviously, there's going to be some hiccups there in between because obviously Fury is going to be on the side. MOUZ is going to be on one side. Hopefully it is like flip to where MOUZ is on the Falcon side.
So they
Fury
play
is
him in
on
the
the
finals
Vitality
against
side.
MOUZ.
I mean, because then at least we get some more exciting matchups here because then we can get the Falcons MOUZ rematch and we can get a Vitality Fury rematch that isn't the finals. Okay, so then the better team from there will move on to go to the finals. So that way we can have that different finals that may potentially not involve Vitality if possible. If Furia gets on the Vitality side, that's a series that they could lose. If MOUZ gets on that side, Vitality, that's guaranteed finals. They're going to be there at least second place. So.
True.
I also think best of 3 is much different than best of 5, especially for that series against Vitality with Vitality Furia. Like I think when it goes to 5 maps, Vitality has a much better chance to win, but I think 3, Fury can easily get the job done.
Hey, if we get a Vitality bounce early, coupled with Parivision dropping to FUT, we get our 3rd tournament winner in 3 events.
Yeah, we'll be on a roll.
We're going to be on a roll. That's a realistic outcome because Parivision might not make the bracket.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like, I mean, Vitality could drop an early game. It's not impossible. It's improbable, but it's not possible. And I mean, it wouldn't be surprising if we see a Falcons win finally. It wouldn't be surprising if we see a Fury win finally. I mean, those things are plausible. What I hope doesn't happen is we get on one side of the bracket like Mongols and MOUZ, and then they play Vitality, and then it's like, all right, just
talk it up.
Just wrap it up, ship it to France. It's done. It's cool. It's whatever.
I think I'm with Pat's side. I think the best case would be to see like a MOUZ Falcons rematch and the Fury Vitality rematch. And hopefully we see an upset. I mean, heck, we've seen Parivision make a final. Astralis is looking really good. If they make it, there's still some teams to be determined. I don't think Mongols is going to upset anybody. But I do think some of these teams that are still going to be playing tomorrow,
I mean, honestly, tomorrow's matchup, which this will be live right around the time it's coming out. So it's like all of those games I'm extremely excited for. All those games are going to be really good because I think it's Aurora Astralis, which is banger. We could see Aurora acting like the top 4 team in the world. We could see him acting like the 44th team in the world. We don't know what we're going to get. We do know Astralis is probably going to be looking like a top 10 team, which is nice. That Navi G2 matchup is going to be really, really good. Coin flip could go either way. And then Parivision FUT, I actually like I like FUT a lot in this matchup. I mean, Parivision's been hot, but FUT's look really good.
Yeah, Parivision or FUT's been more hot this event, I would say, which they have lost 2 series in a row now, but they've beaten some giants, same way Parivision has. So I think this is a kind of your bottom dog matchup of 2 like giant slayers, in my opinion.
Yeah. Who you like?
Out of those 2 matchups?
Yeah.
I think I want to give this one to Parivision.
Ooh. Game time.
Yeah, I thought they looked pretty good today against Fury. I mean, they had some slip-ups, obviously, and they kind of threw away the game. Yeah, they could have won.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate, but I think they're looking pretty solid. A lot better showing than what we saw in Krakow. So
the hard piece of that team is that I think, and this isn't meant to sound as harsh as it's going to sound.
Oh, really?
Game time, I don't think is your problem at all. I mean, he gets you what he's always got you. I don't think, honestly, he looks like he's played the same for probably the past 8 years at this point. But Noda on that team, if Noda plays well, this is a solid top 5 team.
Yeah.
If Noda does not play well, they don't belong in the top 15.
Yeah. If Noda played well today, they win, no question.
100%. It's like, it's impressive to see a player that's that good at that level on a team that's that close be that hot or cold. Because it's very inconsistent. If they can dial it in and dial it up, I mean, we're going to start seeing them in a lot of brackets. We'll keep seeing them in top 6s. But I really think it depends on you need consistency out of Noda more than anything.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem for me with Noda recently, like obviously they won the event, which was tremendous. He could have gotten MVP in my opinion for that. But since then, it's been more often than not, he's not playing good. It's like not an inconsistent where it's like he plays good this map, then he doesn't this map. It's like recently, the last two tournaments, he has been not good. And then he'll have like a occasional pop-off map. And I think you need him to have more like 50-50 than it is now, like a 25% chance he plays good.
It'd be so heartbreaking to go from, in my opinion, deserving of your first event MVP to getting dropped in like 90 days.
Yeah.
But it does feel like we're on a path where, because I think Parivision, your time is now. Like, Jame time looks like it's working. You really want to min-max this going into the major. You really want the best chance you've got it going into the major. And I think the biggest question mark on that team is, what are you getting out of Noda?
Yeah. He's supposed to be their fryer or their rifler. So
Fryer, same thing.
Yeah, frying rifle.
Yeah, frying, all of it, no different.
Slayer.
What about the Navi G2 showdown? You believe in Heavy God or you believe in Alexa
I
B?
believe in Heavy God. I've always liked G2 more than Navi. Navi has looked very inconsistent. Their matchup against the Mongols today, I mean, was just honestly, it was kind of embarrassing. That final one on Mirage was just, I mean, Mongols should have ended that way earlier. It should have been like a 13 to, I think it was 6 or 7 or whatever it was. But Navi was just able to just keep squindling in a couple of little rounds. But man, Wonderful was not looking good. Back on the same old story of Oppers just not doing their thing. Makazi, the rookie or whatever, he had some moments, but it's not there. The same with Bid or IM. It's like, you know, when we saw at the major last year, when they were going on that run there in their bracket and they took down Furia, those people were frying. You know, they were popping off. Yep. And unfortunately, it seems like that's what you need with Navi because I'm not seeing anything special. I mean, they let the Mongols just run all over them. And
it's crazy.
I mean, they had a good game in the series. It's not like it was a complete stomp, but I mean,
it's crazy the light switch because the first game on that Inferno, they were dominant. They were like literally styling them. It was 12-3.
13-3.
Blitz or 13-3. Blitz's got at least 1 kill in the final round. Dude had 3 total. And it's like, what are you doing? And it looked like Ian and Bit and all of them were like just having their way with him. And then you go over to the nuke, and then the nuke starts 10-0 Mongols. Yeah. And it's like, that's the same team that was up 13-3. Yeah. You down 0-10 now. And it just, I don't know. I felt like they logged out and didn't log back in. It's weird.
Yeah, 100%.
Terrible. It's terrible. They was a constant trade. They went like 5 wins in Mirage and were up. Then they lose 5 straight. Then you basically go into the half even. Then you lose your pistol. And then you just give Mongols like another 5 straight rounds and they're like on map point and you're down like 6 rounds. And it's like, what have you done? You've just completely lost the plot.
It's tough because I think Makaze is a good player, but you just miss JL a ton because in those moments when the skid starts, JL would just click 3 heads when they won Team of the Year.
Yeah.
And you don't have that anymore. Nobody's just doing those crazy moments when you're skidding. And that is where, like, you know, we can pick on Wonderful on the op all we want, but, like, that is where in the Navi jersey, that is what Simple did. It was like, hey, you're losing 3 or 4 in a round, 3 or 4 rounds in a row. It's getting messy. It's getting sloppy. We need something. Miracle play. Cool, you're right back in the game. They just have no one right now that's able to say, hey, I'm going to clutch a 1v3. Let's go. Yeah. And instead, it's like, we lost the 1v3. We lost 8 straight. Oh, it's over. Yeah. And it's like, oh, man, doesn't feel good.
I also think there is something to say about Nuke was actually their map pick, so then Mongols got to pick which side. But starting on CT on Nuke, I think, is a huge confidence boost if you can get off to a start like that because it's so CT-sided. If you can get in a big lead, yeah, obviously the other team's going to have to play CT as well, so they're going to be on the favorable side. But if you can, like, 10-0, dude, you should win that game every time. There's no way you should be able to not win 3 rounds. Vibes are low. Yeah, there's no way you shouldn't be able to win 3 rounds on attack.
Yep, 100%. So next thing we want to hop over into is a little bit of half, full, or eco. We're buying, selling, trading. We're going in with our loadouts here. So one thing we want to talk about first is NiKo. NiKo dropped his coolest collection. It's like a little fire collection. It's pretty sick. Collab with Razer. Full player gear. Effectively, it's got a mouse, headset, mouse pad. I'm trying to think. I think that's it. Right, no keyboard as well. Yeah, all in his like little signature flame style with his stuff on there. Super cool overall. Like, I actually really like the aesthetic a lot. I think it looks really good. But do we think that these cool collab branding deals, we think that's good for kind of the Counter-Strike, similar to the vein of the cover with ZywOo and like, we're making esports cool in gaming, or I think this is just gimmicky nonsense to praise NiKo for no reason?
I think I think this is cool. Full buy, whatever you want, however you call it there. Because, I mean, I think it would be cool to have collabs, not even like, it don't have to be like a full collab like this with like a bunch of products, but just anything for a bunch of players that, you know, money can be earned on like both sides for the player and for the company. Because I think there's a lot of people out there that would like to buy mouses with, you know, their signatures or names on it, or keyboards or keycaps or their style of keyboard with like their custom colors or something. I think anybody out there would probably want to do something like that instead of having to win one of these little giveaways, which is usually all they do. We're like, oh, like they just had a ZywOo one going on. It's like, get this ZywOo one with all this stuff or whatever. It's like, why don't you just sell that? Yeah. Not even like all the way fully that customized, but like maybe a spacebar ZywOo keycap with the Asus Rock, or however you say their keyboard name.
I want the NiKo one, and dude, it would have went so hard if it did. They probably can't because of HLTV rules or whatever. But you get a keycap for where you're at in the top 20 every year. Mm-hmm. If it just had all his top 20 keycaps spread out of the keyboard, yeah, that would have went hard. Yeah, so hard.
I'm somewhere between half and full buy, and the only reason I'm not just a full buy is because I think when I think of like collabs like this, I think of basketball, and I think of like the signature shoes that players have, like Kobe's and LeBron's and Kyrie's and all these different shoes. I think that should be more of a thing within esports. Like a mouse is a perfect example, but it needs to be something that you can have a bunch of different colorways for. It's not just like, oh, we have one release that's going to be a NiKo mouse and this is going to be it. It's like, no, we at Razer, we partnered with NiKo. He's going to have a signature mouse line. And so he's going to, for this major, he might have this cool design that he's like helped kind of push. And then for these next few events, he's going to have this mouse that he can just push. And it's all the same mouse, but it's just going to have different designs on it. So I think that needs to be something that needs to kind of flourish in the industry and in the scene.
No, I agree a ton. For me, it's a full, and it's a full on that same vein. And it's mostly because like what you said, I don't think the net cost, because it's a designer to design the thing, which isn't a crazy massive cost by any far stretch. And then you're changing how the plastic injection colors are. It's not a significant cost, right? It's not like retooling machines. It's not like we're asking for a custom NiKo shape for every major. It's I want this one purple and I want this one green or whatever it is, right? And I think that stuff's like low-hanging fruit. But I also think like we have to be realistic. There's probably somewhere between 100 million and I don't know, maybe 2 billion active gamers in the world, right? How many of them actually care about esports? It's not a lot. It's probably in the low millions that actually care about esports, which is still insanely high in a number of people, but it's not like the craziest number when compared to gamers at scale. Now, if you were to go to a Micro Center or a Best Buy or whatever, and you were able to see those mice, already behind it in the Razer section or wherever you're at, you see a picture of Faker, you see a picture of Scump, you see a picture of Simple, you see a picture of these guys up there that are like, you know, the Mount Rushmore of gaming, if you will. But it's like if I had to choose between a mouse and like, say I'm a parent, I know nothing, and there's a standard black mouse or there's a mouse that has a crown on it for Scump or something cool like that, and this is the greatest player in Counter-Strike, the greatest player in Call of Duty or whatever, I would get the one that's like, hey, do you want to be Michael Jordan or do you just want to play the game? And that, like, I mean, I like sports, so I would make that call, but I think a lot of parents would make that call. And I also think a lot of kids would be like, I want to represent NiKo. I'm going to convert to Razer for NiKo. So if you're Razer, big win. Like right now, I know there's a Logitech mouse that everybody's swapping to, and it looks cool, but it would look cooler if it was custom for the players. Like I would rather have a player edition like you would have in basketball shoes. Like I would rather have a PE version of a player. Like that'd be the sickest thing, especially if you get like unreleased limited versions or whatever. Like this is a PE prototype of Donk's new mouse. Like it would be so hard.
I think the biggest thing that it does too is obviously these are like functional mouses that are going to be used and played with at a high level. They want to be as good as they can be, but it turns into something like a sneaker or like even a final mouse. It's not just a mouse anymore, it's a collectible. And so if you have a NiKo mouse that's maybe like the Chinese New Year, and then this one's like the Shanghai Major, this one's like the Budapest Major, all these have different collectible things that you can attach to that and memories you can attach to that. I just think it gives it more value than just this is a NiKo mouse it's going to be this same colorway. Everybody can have the same colorway. I think it's cool when you have different colorways for people. So Pat can be like, yeah, well, I have the Shanghai one and I have the whatever, this one. So
I think it's sick. I think limited time releases make them super rare. Like I'm about it because it also should be something you like. You might not like all the colors of the NiKo mouse, but you really like the purple one. Get the purple one.
Yeah,
sick. Next one we're gonna have is it's Pat's favorite subject. So we're gonna go to Pat first. But this one today, about gambling. Plot twist.
Yay, gambling.
Yeah, because that's our favorite subject.
Gambling.
So today, we're going to talk about Counter-Strike. There's this beautiful little chart that Davis had brought up to us the other day in our Discord, which Pat says you should join as always. But it breaks down what current association teams have. And if you look, there are currently 12 of the top 20 VRS teams are betting-related sponsors. We have an automotive sponsor. We have a banking sponsor / finance. We've got some others in there. We have a couple that don't have any title sponsor. Shout out G2, still holding it down, unincorporated. But for the most part, we're gambling. That is what it is. 9 out of 10 in America are gambling backed. We find that this is sustainable, or do we think that this is probably going to be the thing that ends us all?
I mean, obviously, I don't like gambling. I mean, I like gambling. We've been over this 100 times. I'm probably going to hear about it after the show.
Which is it really then?
No, because
he likes it.
It's so annoying. It's so annoying that I have to sit here and explain this. I don't like gambling in the terms of when it's thrown out into the people's faces like this. So I think that inevitably it will be the downfall, because I think eventually, at some point, whether it's Valve or whatever, the regulation, we've already had it to where some countries, they go play tournaments in it, they have to block out their sponsors or wear different jerseys or whatever. But I think eventually it gets to that point to where that this will not be sustainable. But for now, it is what sustains it, because obviously gambling makes a ton of money, and they're able to put in this money and put in for the advertising, to pay the orgs, and to keep it going, especially for your teams that are not as successful. So it's a way for them to still be able to make money, sustain, and keep going forward. So it's kind of like just this weird double-edged sword. So I don't know. I think it's kind of like a half. Well, I mean, if we're just saying gambling owns CS2, yeah, I think gambling just completely owns the competitive scene. It is that. It's not about Logitech or Razer or other gaming companies or anything like that. It's about Bet Boom, Stake, all of them.
I think the overarching question was, will we survive the current sponsorship reality with gambling? So it sounds like you're half.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know. I guess I can go with half, because I could see it all crashing and burning, but I could see it also
It's also only working because of it right now.
Yeah, it's like I could see it could potentially survive, but it will be bad.
I think I'm a half buy, but the one thing that I do want to say that I don't think is some coincidence, which I know the Stake deal with Vitality is like a relatively new thing, but when we look at that chart, Stake is by far the biggest gambling site that's on this thing. Who's on the dynasty run? Who has the era right now? Who's won 12 events in the last year? I don't think there's any coincidence there that they are the biggest gambling sponsorship, Stake, and they are also the best team that has that sponsorship deal. I think that goes hand in hand. So I think that is one thing that could become a very big problem when you look at this is gambling going to be like the backbone sponsorships for these teams? Okay, if it is, there's only a couple of sites that can be the biggest gambling sites on the planet. And if those sites are going to sponsor teams, those teams are going to be the best and biggest teams. So.
Yeah, I think that for me, it's tough because I probably am gonna have to eco this in the sense of I think there's gonna be a reset and it's gonna be pretty bad. I think if esports is at this level, I think we're gonna have to go down quite a few pegs to survive the outcome of the fall of gambling. And I think it will happen relatively soon. I think there'll have to be a diversity strategy. I think the best case right now is you somehow get the gambling companies to cut in the teams in some degree. Almost like a Dota compendium style or something along North Carolina, in the U.S., how our lottery is based on the education system. If there is a fraction of the esports gambling on Counter-Strike that goes into prize pools or goes back to the team and club shares, or you have events sponsored in that capacity, that could prolong the longevity. But I think we're going to get to a point where right now it looks like regulators want to get rid of this, governments want to get rid of this, and countries want to get rid of this. And it's frankly probably the biggest thing propping up Counter-Strike specifically. But you're seeing with everybody. I mean, currently, Riot is doing weird things with cryptocurrencies and gambling. We now have Blast doing things with, I believe, Polymarket. And I'm not saying these companies are sketchy or anything like that, but it is, whether it's crypto or whether it's gambling, both of those are kind of fringe markets that not a lot of people are trusting of currently.
Yeah. And a lot of them are being accepted all across, like you said. That was one thing that really surprised me recently was Riot kind of entering into that sphere. They've always been against it. So
yeah, they decided to go to EWC too. So I mean,
the money comes for everyone.
It does. And when it comes, can you say no?
Nope, I guess not. Gambling sponsors.
Hey,
Pat loves it.
Hey, it is what it is. Yeah, Pat might need a discount code.
We love gambling sponsors.
Yeah, Pat might need a discount code. He's running out of free bets.
Somebody fact check what he said, too. Does this guy actually like gambling? Or does he not?
I think he does, but he doesn't. But he does.
He does, but he doesn't. He does, but he doesn't.
But speaking of things Pat does absolutely love, it's the Armory Pass. Because right now, Pat is saving up for the Golden AK, which is, I think it's only 63 Armory tokens.
Golden AK.
No, it's 100 and something.
You're talking about the Aphrodite one? The one that's in there right now?
Yeah.
It's like 125.
I also picked it up the other day. Which you need to make the opinion on your own, but when I picked up this AK, I was
unsatisfied.
Yeah, unsatisfied.
What is this image?
So this right here is from CSGO 500. Shocking, Valve has made $355 million with the Armory Pass. That's enough to end world hunger 5 times. Now, first, I don't think his math is correct, or ending world hunger got way cheaper.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how that. I think that's about 70 million, give or take. So we're saying 70 million ends world hunger, which that might be a lot of ramen. It's possible. I'm not here to judge. I just don't know how nutritiously good that's going to be. But the biggest piece on this is with Valve making all of this money in this Armory Pass and still no operation. Do we think the Armory Pass is the way moving forward, and are we satisfied with this outcome? If it's just Armory Pass and Terminal, no more cases.
Is that full buy if we're okay with the Armory Pass?
Yeah, if you think it's great.
Okay, well, this is eco all the way. I hate the Armory Pass. I don't hate it, and it's if it was there and we could get operations, but from everything I constantly hear, it's just like this is the replacement for operations. And I think that is just completely bollocks. Like, that is just the most laziest thing the Counter-Strike devs can do. And I know they're always considered lazy. I just can't help. Just, like, give me something, please. Like, this is not fun. It's not fun to buy a $16 pass and then just play the game the same old way and earn some tokens. It is so boring. It is unreal.
If it was a battle pass of sorts and you had to go into community servers, casuals, and non-premier games, would you be willing to go into those, those poverty servers to do that? Or
if like there was rewards for it, right? Like the missions from the old operations and things like that. Like if the rewards were actually worth it, then yes, I would be willing to go play on like the new community maps that used to get added in with the operations, right? It'd be like go play on like Clown World Fiesta, go play like 5 maps or 5 games on that map.
Get 100 kills with a P90.
Yeah, and it's like stuff like that. Like, yeah, because like you were grinding for stars for like cool things that you could get, and you were guaranteed some good things. Unlike this, where it's like you grind out stars and you can open a invisible crate that's not a crate that you just get a random skin out of this collection, right? But it's like the other ones, it's like you could build up stars and you could get like a red or whatever. Like there was guaranteed reward for you working that hard, as to where now you just get this limited time skin. And some of them are cool. This one, the Aphrodite, yeah, it's not the greatest, but I think it's cool that it changes colors based on your like the float that you get. I think that's the coolest thing.
I like the last one where it was like that was like Van Gogh type painting thing that had different like artworks or whatever.
On the M4?
On the M4. I think that one was cool. I mean, for me, this is a half buy because they do some cool stuff with the community on this and how the actual things get in. I actually do like the stickers in it a lot. But I think this is great for stickers. This is great for music. This is great for little charms. This is great for modifiers. I don't like this particularly for guns. The other thing that they've added with this, which I don't really like, is the whole renting system. I mean, if we were to play in a weird tournament and I needed to flex for some really odd reason, I could maybe kind of understand renting a case for a couple days. But like, it's a weird mechanic. Yeah. It just is something I'm afraid I'm going to misclick and I'm going to be very mad about.
I wonder how many people actually, I was thinking about that the other night because I was ripping some cases. I wonder how many people actually rent skins like from a case.
I would imagine if you're going to do like a, that tier 3 Brazilian Counter-Strike match that we happened to watch the other day for no specific reason. Yeah. If you're playing in something like that, it might be cool to have a sick fit.
Yeah.
And I can see the value in playing in a tournament where you're going to have eyes on you getting a sick fit and you're not famous enough for people to give you skins.
Yeah.
I can see it from that context.
I think people do this just regularly just for playing games on occasion and stuff.
Just to try it out.
Because you don't like, it's pretty cheap. It's not like you're like paying a lot of money for this or whatever. Somebody we know actually done it quite a few times whenever he would play. He would just like rent the skins like out of the case, just to have some skins on the gun while he's playing the game. I mean, because you get all the ones out of it, yeah. Or
you get all from
you don't get a gold or anything. You don't get like a knife or anything like that.
Actually, I don't know if
no, you don't get a knife. No, you don't get a knife. Yeah, it's just the gun skins that are in that case.
But I'm curious if do you get them like men wear,
I don't know about that part. They could randomize that part like they do everything.
You get the red and like battle scar.
Who are you talking about? I don't know a person. I don't think I've ever met a person that's done that.
Well, it's Casey. That's the person we know. Casey's done it multiple times whenever we played Counter-Strike.
I could see it maybe to try it, but I would just go to the store and inspect it personally. But
yeah, I would just go to a community server.
I mean, it's only like a couple bucks. It's not like
go to community servers.
It's not like super expensive. I don't remember how long it lasts for.
I think it's a week.
7 days.
Yeah, so it's like if you're like in this case of like you're just gonna play Counter-Strike for a small stint with like your buddies or whatever, and like you just want to have some skins on your gun instead of the defaults, then it's like a very cheap thing to do. I wouldn't do it because I'm a gambling addict. I want to open the case and try to get a knife.
Well, I just think,
but you don't like.
I think there's such a small, like I said, I just don't know who would do that. Yeah. There's got to be such a small.
I mean, for it to be there, there's probably got to be cashing in a little bit off of it. I was just laughing because I just realized from our notes from the production side is that the actual question was the Armory or World Hunger So I guess full buy was keep the armory. Eco was solve world hunger.
Okay.
So I don't feel as great about my half buy personally.
I feel good about mine, man.
I'm sticking to it, I guess.
I'm going to not do that because I was planning on full buying this. Actually, I'm going to half buy because I do. The biggest thing is, like you said, I think it's a little lazy. I think they should have cases no matter what, because the one thing the Armory Pass does not offer you is the chance to get a knife. It does have a lot of cool skins. The stickers is one thing that sticks out to me. They have some dope stickers in the Armory Pass. So I actually really like it. But I do think there needs to be a case opportunity out there because people need to be able to get knives. That needs to be.
But you can, bro. You can pay $16 to use 2 stars to buy a case, which then you have to pay $2.50 for to open.
Yeah.
But remember, you can only put a minimum of $5. So you want to open 2 cases, that's too bad. You got to at least put $10.
Yep.
Ugh! Horrible system. It is so horrible.
I think it's
But
fine.
it's 4 if you want to just open one from the collection.
Yeah.
I think
So
it's
it's people use it to make money. You know how many YouTube videos are out there of like Armory Pass? Can you make money?
Yeah.
Like, holy God, Counter-Strike it is an insane game.
If
bro.
you look at
Like,
the amount of
people, I think people play this game more for money-making opportunities than they do for just playing the game to have fun,
like the
playing
game.
for competitive to maybe go pro. It's just, this is a game I can make money on.
or
Like,
you
it's-
could
it's
convince
insane.
yourself that it's justified.
And Flex.
Yeah.
Flex is probably up here too. Make money in Flex, and then all the rest is down here.
No, I
It's
get
crazy.
that. For me, the biggest thing that makes the Armory a slam dunk is inside. If you go to the workshop section in Counter-Strike, which I'm certain we all go there so frequently, you could do the thing where you vote on the skins. You know, you can vote on what skins you want to be in the game. If the Armory had some degree of that mechanic, and then just let me get them in season, and it might just be one of those things of like, the guy's already made the skin. Like, he's already done that and submitted it. And like, if you voted for something that didn't win, how cool would it be if for your Armory Pass, you can get one of those guns? That'd be sick.
Dude, one thing I want to talk about, which I should have actually told you before so we could actually talk about it on the show, but I saw a tweet the other day from, I think it was from Counter-Strike 2's official thing. It was somebody, like a dev, that was asking for community
Submissions.
for skins. That's actually super hype. I think that's really cool. I hope a lot of those skins actually get accepted and they have maybe just like a case of only community skins. That would be sick.
Haven't they done that before in the past?
I don't know if they did a whole case on it, but they do bring them in. That's,
Yeah, I know they bring in community-made skins or whatever. For
like
their
Print
stuff.
Stream is one. That's obviously, maybe.
Because those people get paid like they get paid a nice penny for those things. So another way of making money. It's a game you can make money. If
then
you're
you
an
flex.
artist, designer,
Hey.
And Print Stream's one of the most like successful skin lines. I mean, there's
It
an
is.
AWP, there's a M4, there's a USP, there's a bunch of them.
the print
Bring an
stream's
AK
nice.
in next,
I like
too.
the print stream.
Yeah. There's also a NSX and a Lambo, too. It's crazy. People be wild. All right. So over the weekend, we had a lot of cool stuff happening. We're going to start this one off with, I believe, Pat is going to be
Me.
talking about breaks. Something about breaking his nades, nads, something. I don't know. What is it?
Apparently breaking my nades. Sorry, breaking my nades. No, it's just about this tournament for PGL, because a lot of the times I've griped on here about like the transitioning between games or even the half times is just like so long. And this gives credence to what I was saying at the beginning of like, we're playing like a whole bunch of best of threes per day. Like there's so many teams here committing in like this little Swiss stage bracket going through, and they're all best of threes. And that's because the breaks between matches are only like 10 minutes. Or between maps are only like 10 minutes. Even the half times, normally on like a Blast or like an ESL, you'll go to a halftime and it'll be like 3 minutes for a halftime. And they're just sitting there, players just talking, getting drank, whatever. This, it's like 40 seconds. They don't even like break away to anything. It's just like it's halftime. You see a countdown, it counts down, and then it's like the 15-second countdown to start the round or whatever. Quick, simple, in it. Moving. We're on to the next map. Quick little interview, quick little break desk, boom, we're going. We're moving to the next. Not that it needs to necessarily be this fast, but it allows for us to be able to do the best of threes instead of having to do best of ones because we have so many teams. And I don't need to see ESL's dumb skits all the time. I love a lot of them. Don't get me wrong. But I like to see it once, but then I have to see it 50 times between the 30-minute break between each game. It's aggravating, okay? Allegiant's bald head makes me upset sometimes. So that's all I'm going to say.
Why is that? You feel bad for him?
Dude, it's so shiny and small. I don't know.
Kindred spirits.
I want to play devil's advocate on this one a little bit because I do agree that it is weird like having these big matches or these big time frames between matches. But one thing I want to say is I think it means a lot to keep matches at the exact time that they're scheduled for. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest reason because I think you have a lot of fans that they look the night before and they're like, okay, my team plays at 10 a.m. the next day. So I need to make sure that I'm ready at 10 a.m. So then they wake up at 8, they do all their chores, they go, take care of their kids, or they do something, and they come back to their house, they get ready to sit down and watch the game at 10. Well, the match started at 9, so they're actually missed 2 maps and they're behind now. It's like, I don't think that's cool at all. So I think we need to figure out a way to keep the matches at the exact time that they are scheduled for. So I think that's the big reason for having these gaps in between matches. I think that's a little more important.
Yeah, I do think that, for me, I agree. I think the commercial stuff is cool on the SL side. I do think the padding gets egregious. I'm curious more from like a player's POV. Because like I've always been the type of dude that's like, I mean, I came from Call of Duty, so we're used to doing 2Ks on weekends. So you basically play what feels like a million matches over the span of 2 days. So it's like you're always waiting to play the next. You're just constantly grinding, and it's like I want to get into the next game. As a player, that's how I felt. So I'm curious if the Counter-Strike pros feel the same. If it's like, hey, I don't care what you're saying, Halsey, let's just go next, or whatever. Zontic, shut up. Let me just GG go next. Or if they're like, yo, I need help. Let me take a breather. Let me go take a break, whatever. Like, I'm curious what their opinions are and kind of what more they feel. Because to me, at the end of the day, I just want to see the best matchup. Like, I want to see the best version of ZywOo play the best version of Maladoy and best man win. I don't want it to be ZywOo to be like, I was stressed and I didn't go use the bathroom and my hand warmers were dead and da-da-da-da-da. It's like, I don't want any of that stuff. Just best on best go.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that, but it's just weird to me. What was it, the one... I feel like it was just recently.
It was Thunderpick.
Oh, well, that one was a little bit before that one. Thunderpicks was egregious. I mean, there was like 40 minutes between matches. I feel like just recently we had like a match that just went super quick. It was like a blowout, and it wasn't intended for. And then there was like an hour gap to the next match.
Sure.
Because we had to wait for the times and stuff like that or whatever, which is like, those are kind of more anomalies. But it's just like, I feel like a lot of times we get a lot of these formats and stuff is just all timing based. So if anything, you give me a break between maps shouldn't be that short, and half times. Break between games themselves or teams to the next team. I mean, those are understandable to be a certain amount of time. They got to switch up. They got to get other people in there, get them set up, get ready, blah, blah, blah. I feel like a lot of times they bloat the in-betweens. You add 2 minutes to the halftime of each time. It goes 3 maps. You keep doing that over and over again. We're adding like hours onto the broadcast for seemingly nothing.
What we should do this is not related to what you're talking about at all, but I think it's
okay. All right.
It kind of is. When these games get into super long overtimes, I do think to speed up overtime, they should start reducing the time left in the round. We got this on. Because like the other day, I'm pretty sure it was the Fury match, went to like 22-18 or something like that. And it was like one of those of like
it was FUT versus Fury.
It's one of those where I was like, dude, we're just dragging us out. And then you're also at a point where it's like they're saving an OT, and it's like, dude, come on, guys. Let's get this show on the road. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like the OT parameters, like I get that you have maybe the first one you have Vent for money, second one you're like go eco build up, third one we start reducing time or something. Like we gotta get this show on the road.
Maybe they do like the I guess the NFL strategy. It's like the first 2 rounds, both teams get a chance to like go back and forth, but then the third round, if you tie it up after the first 2, then third round's winner take all. No matter what, it's just like third round, you win it all.
I like the way Valorant does theirs. I think I don't know, it wouldn't quite work, I guess, with Counter-Strike just because it's how it's been forever. But I like they're just 2 rounds, 1 on each side. Yeah. You win both the rounds, you win the game or whatever. So and you just keep doing like that instead of the 3-3.
I like the 3-3 in that context, but it's like the economy is like a little bit odd. So it's like at times I feel like if the first one goes, you're still tied. Then the next one, make it start pistol round. So you'll go pistol half full. I think that's exciting and different, and then it's fun. And then if that happens to still be tied after that, then it's like, all right, take 30 seconds off the clock. What's your fast track? Go.
And then add gas on the outside like it's a battle royale.
Yeah, battle royale.
Plan on A, no more saving. The gas starts coming in. You got to go.
Yeah, op only next. It's like, we could get some good stuff.
I just think it needs to be 3 rounds. Whoever picks the map, you get the unfortunate side going into the overtime. If you win the first round, you lose the second round, it goes to a winner take all third, or you just win the first 2 and you win it.
Hey, just win games and regulations. That's all that matters. All right, so for me, I'm going to be talking about the double op. This is a weird strat that we started to see a little bit more, especially more recent. I feel like it's something you really never saw back in the day.
Yeah.
Unless it was like a weird, I picked it up and it's the last round or something like that. But I think that starting to see towards the end of last year, you started to see Fallen bring back out the op, but not in place of Maladoy. They would both tandem it on different sites. And I feel like that kind of led to this new pseudo meta where like now we're seeing Vitality start to let Rops run the op. So they're now running ZywOo and Rops with the op at times, especially now that ZywOo is back to basically being a full-time opper and he's way backed off the rifle compared to last year. And then you look at a lot of the other teams are doing it. Donk is starting to run the op along with Shiro, which is a little bit of an odd, unique thing. And we're starting to see a lot more of this double op meta. Like, what do we think this is cool? We think this is lame. We want to see more of it. I mean, it's a huge econ risk, but it seems to be in rounds where if Spirit went around and the other team had an op, Donk will usually take their op, and then now we have two.
I hate this.
Yeah, whatever. I think it's overpowered in a way. I think it's just
The
a way
gun's
to catch.
overpowered.
The gun itself is very overpowered, but I think it's just a way for teams to catch opponents off guard. And I think that was like Furia's main thing, is because like a lot of times you'll have like if you have Maladoy, let's just throw Dust 2 for an example, and you have Maladoy at long A, and he's shooting the op. You know, you're signaling to the opponent right there that like, oh, the op is here. Like, and then they feel a little bit more safe to kind of slow peek, to kind of do things like that on the other side, because they're not expecting another op. So they just end up like slow walking into an op and dying, which results in a kill. And then here comes the other op, and now you're pinched between two sides. It's just a weird scenario like that because they want to catch the other team lacking. They're like, oh, they're not running double op. That's too expensive. They would never do that. And then boom, you're caught off guard. And then that's a round. And it's just so strong, especially on some maps. Some of the angles are they're just OP for it.
Today, we saw it at the end of the Na'Vi game. Na'Vi Mongols was coming back, close game, goes to, I think it's 11-12. And then they run double op.
Mongols runs the double op. Yeah. Cobra Zero, whatever his name is.
Yeah, on Cat.
He had some nice shots there, too.
He did. He had nice shots.
He turned on Alexi B bad.
Yeah, that spin on mid was crazy. But it's one of those to where if they shoot on that side, if it was early enough, he did a little bit later in the round, but you would see that they probably would have rotated A if they would have heard that op shot, and then they would have walked right in at 9-10. So I think it's crazy strong because the gun's crazy strong.
Yeah.
It's weird to hear them talk about maybe nerfing the MP7 when we still got this, op crutch nightmare.
I do think it's a little weird, though. Like, I don't like it by any means. Like we just talked about, I think it's really strong, but I also don't think there's many teams that can pull this off at a high level and play it like very successfully. I think Fallen is one of the examples of like, yeah, he was an op in past tense, so like he still has a lot of skill with it. Maldo is obviously a top offer, but I really don't see many other teams out there, in my opinion, that I would feel like that threatened by. Like I think you could easily win a round with it, but I also think it's something that could really destroy your economy, and it really just wouldn't benefit a lot of teams out there.
And you still think Kickson's pulling it out, so you just don't like it that much.
Oh heck no, he ain't pulling it out.
We lucky to give him an AK.
Yeah, he needs to keep his pistol just by everybody else.
That's true. What you got for us, Davis?
For me, I have something's up with this Senzu thing. We've seen recently Senzu, he's coming back to competition. He's playing with Passion UA, but I'm not buying it. There's something weird about this. He left Mongols whenever they were at the top of their game. They were at one point, they were the #1 ranked team on HLTV in the world.
Won a Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, they won at EWC. They came second at Fissure Playground. They came third at Thunder Pick. So like winning events, competing consistently in semifinals. He steps away for mental reasons, whatever. He needed a little break from the game. But he comes back now, and he's coming back for Passion UA. And I just think that's super odd. I don't know why he would have left the Mongolian team with the team that he was playing with. He's also the best player on the team.
Probably
so
in the
everything
country.
just screams like this is really weird to me. I don't know what happened, but in my opinion, something has had to have happened with behind the scenes for this to happen.
Yeah, man, I don't want to go full drama alert on this and just make some wild, crazy accusations like the Great Keemstar.
But I'm going to anyway.
No, it's one of those where I agree. It's weird, right? Like, you would think if it was like, I don't know, some health diagnostics, he would just go back to the Mongols. But it doesn't feel like that because he didn't just go back to the Mongols. And like, you even saw today, after doing the double op thing, what was Coldzera's statement?
I don't remember what statement was.
As soon as they ask him, like, oh yeah, you look pretty nice with the op today, I'm not as good as Senzu. And it's like, yeah, bro, like, no offense, but like, yeah, like, he's really good, dude. Mm-hmm. And it's weird that you don't go back to that. It just feels a little bit odd, and it's like, something has got to be up, and it's like, sure, maybe they're protecting it for personal reasons, and if that's the case, so be it. But it just feels like something odd happened. Like, I know we're in the land of like people borrowing skins and not giving them back and other stuff like that. So it's like, is it something like that? Because like, you're literally still hanging out with the team. They said your own loan from the Mongols is what the Mongols have said. Your own national TV in Mongolia with the team still. Mm-hmm. Like, and it just, I don't know, something about it just seems very, very odd. And like, sure, if you're protecting a player for sensitive reasons, whatever, I totally get that. But like, if it's just some like offbeat drama or whatever, dude, just say it, move on. Who cares? If you don't like the team, you yelled at the coach or you kicked his dog or something stupid, it's like, whatever, move on. Who cares?
Yeah, something definitely does have to be going on. I mean, I obviously have no clue what it could be, but I think it's for the better, man. Get off that Mongolian team. They're not good. I mean,
that makes me think the best excuse that I've heard for it, was actually for another guy here, Justin. He was talking about it. He said it could be a stepping stone team for him to enter another Western org, because we were talking about it. Obviously, him playing with Mongolia his whole life, and for basically what is a national team for them. He clearly hasn't played with other like English speaking or other language speaking teams, and so you're not going to be able to just jump into like a Falcons or a Vitality or another top level team immediately, because they're gonna think about that. Like, this could actually hurt our team, having that confident or the communication hurting a little bit. So I think it could be a stepping stone for him. He wasn't going to join someone that's like a tier 1 top level Western team, but if he wants to join a Western team in the future, this could be a stepping point for him.
No, could make sense. I can see that.
I'm all for it. He's best one on the team. That team's not going to win anything. Yeah, you got EWC, but like,
I think they're gonna.
The future is not very bright.
Yeah, I think they're gonna struggle to stay in the top 15 without him. And that's no slight to any of those guys, but it's like that. Currently, that probably 7 through 20 pool is very interchangeable. And if you, like TL saw, if you slip just outside of the edge of that 15, you stop getting invites. They're already in a region where travel is inconvenient and it's not the most like logical because they're on a different side of the planet. So I totally get that there's stresses. Those guys want to be at home and they're at home scrimming. They don't get to play as good of people. And if you lose a generational talent, like, it puts you in a rough spot.
Yeah. One thing I do think does save them with the invite side, though, is the fact that they are an Asian team. So with the
Top
Asian
Asians.
Representation, they would have to fall way down the totem pole to not get invited to a bunch of places, just because they're the top Asian team. So they'll get invited.
That does help.
They'll be there, Pat.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, happens. Any closing sentiments we want for this lovely week, this lovely show?
Join the Discord.
Yep, join the Discord. And pull for the
GGN.
Falcons this weekend.
Hey, and if you're using the new cheater mouse, me and Davis would like to know your comprehensive review, because Davis has already used it. FedEx decided to betray me. Basically, it's possible to get packages seemingly shipped to a major metropolitan area in America. So
Get it in the country, though.
Yeah. Go move to the boonies. You'll get packages quicker. So I'm curious how many people have been using this. It seems like a significant portion of the pros are using it.
Yeah.
They were panning down to the players in the past 2 days of matches, and because it's two-tone colored, you see it everywhere.
Yeah.
What are
I
your
like it.
thoughts?
I think it's very comfortable. I think the getting used to the click haptics was really weird at first, but I actually really enjoy it now that I'm kind of used to it. So I haven't noticed, like, I had a super light before that. It's basically the same mouse, just with click haptics and a little bit different, like I guess actuation. But other than that, I think it's pretty much the same as my old mouse. But
It's going to take you straight over 20K. Pass is going to get left behind at like 15, 16 or something like that.
Unfortunate.
he'll get him one.
15, 16. Buddy, bump those numbers up. I ain't there.
But he's at 18.
I'm just
now.
trying to catch up to get back in the lobby at this point.
Yeah, maybe you'll get to play with us one day.
You guys play a little bit more, come back down. We'll be good.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Maybe.
Well, we'll check out the matches this week. If you got anything else, feel free to reach out to us on X. Pat will be responding to all your messages on
Discord.
there exclusively. He'll really respond to your Discords. But thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.